just showing that we have 6 people here.
I knew you'd crack.
Alright, we're ready? To begin out, I want everyone to close their eyes for a few moments, just to imagine what I'm about to tell you. Imagine your feet are wrapped with chains that are keeping you from moving more than a couple of inches. Imagine that your arms are wrapped so that you have no way of defending yourself. Now imagine your mouth being so dry from not having anything to drink for days, and from screaming your lungs out for hours in the hopes that someone will come save you, and in the hopes that they will stop hurting you. Every part of your body is hurting. From the hunger of having been starved for days, or weeks, or months, you really have no clue anymore, to the pains coming from every open wound on your body, for what seems like every inch of your body. Imagine this going on for months, years. Imagine it going on till the day you take your last breath. Now open your eyes. The story that I just described to you is actually a true story. It was told to me by a lady named Pun, who I had the privilege of meeting personally while I was in Thailand. Pun told me the story through her tears and scars, her movements, and her anxiety. She was able to tell me the story because this is what happened to her. This is how her life started out. In a cage not much bigger than her body. Today I invite you into a world that for many years have been hidden behind closed doors. And I hope to educate you on how elephants are caught in the wild and how their spirits are broken before they end up in circuses or the tourist industry all over the world. Through me, Pun will tell her story. A national conservation organization since 1947 called National Defenders of Wildlife stated on their website that as of the 20th century, there are about 100,000 elephants left in the wild in Asia. Today, that number is about 40,000. And the major reason for that is because of the tourist attraction that they represent. For years, they've been caught to be used in their own countries or to be shipped around the world to places like here or Europe to serve as entertainment for us humans. But the product that you see when you go to the circus is not how they start out. Elephants are wild animals. They don't sit on balls, they don't stand up on their back legs, and they do not carry around tourists on their back all day long. In fact, if you want to take a look at the first image on the table there, you'll see a bad case, not a rare case, but of an animal or an elephant who's been carrying around tourists on its backs for years, broken its back, and even after that, been forced to continue that. To get these elephants to perform the tricks and to carry the tourists on their back, they have to go through a ritual. And this ritual is called breaking their spirit. And to start the ritual, you must first acquire an elephant. And in Thailand, the way you do that is you go out to the jungle and you locate the family. And because you can only use the babies for the ritual, and because the animals are so protective and they obviously don't want the babies to be taken away, the hunters kill everyone except the babies and then take them away. Just leave them for dead or maybe use part of them, who knows. And then the ritual starts with the animal being pushed into a cage that is big enough for the animal to stand in there, not move, not lay down, nothing. It's literally skin tight, touching every part of its body. And this is where the ritual begins. The hunters will be equipped with a tool called a bull hook, and on Exhibit 2, just so you have an idea what that is, that's what it looks like. That tool is used to stab the baby elephants over and over. And not only that, throughout the time in the cage, it's starved. It's also given the minimal amount of liquid possible. And every time it buckles to its knees because of pain or tiredness or it tries to sleep, they stab it even more because they don't want it to sleep, they don't want it to relax, they want it to be in constant pain. And this all goes on till the elephant lets out a scream. Now this is the part where feel free to close your ears. I promise it'll be very short. If you don't want to listen to it. It's not a scream. I didn't catch that because I don't have that, but it's the part leading up to it. Let's see. Just catch it for a second. I don't know, can everyone hear it? Alright, I think we get the points. This sound lets the hunter know that the elephant has given up. It's saying, I can't do it anymore, please stop. Whatever you want me to do, just do it. It's the sound of submission. This sound will, the elephant won't do this till months, maybe 6 months, maybe even more, and they won't stop till they do it. And they keep trying to just fend these people off, and just, it's gonna stop because they're so strong animals. So once the spirit has been broken, it's finally ready to be purchased. Now in Thailand, where Pun is from, what happens is that a mahout buys her, or the elephant, and a mahout is the Thai name for an elephant owner. And what happens is that he is the first one to let the elephant out of the cage, and he's the first one to give a real good meal, fruit or whatever they like to the elephant, so that the elephant's like, oh my God, you're my savior. I'm gonna be nice to you. I love you. But that doesn't, unfortunately, mean that the torture stops, because the mahout will still carry this bull torch, or the bull tool. He'll still stab it every day to teach it all the tricks that it now has to learn, and to remind it of the time in the cage. So what happens then is that either the elephant is used in tourist attractions, like I told you about, or to carry around tourists, or it's used in circuses around the world. You might be thinking now that my example is in Thailand. Now, poor elephant, sounds horrible, but Thailand's really far away. What does that have to do with me? I have dogs in the Humane Society to get treated worse and stuff like that. But to make it a little bit more personal, let me bring it a little closer, because unfortunately, rituals like these do take place, even in the States. In fact, according to a news article posted on CNN back in 2011, one of the most famous circuses, the Ringling Brothers, were fined $270,000 for breaking the Animal Welfare Act, because they were treating the elephants like this, so that they could be prepared for going into the circus. This is a very small fine for having tortured animals for over hundreds of years, which they have. But luckily, due to stories like Pun's that I'm telling you today, the circus is starting to feel more pressure, and a lot of them, including Ringling Brothers, are letting their elephants now live in sanctuaries, and they're not part of their circuses anymore. However, there's still a ways to go, because it's not all circuses, it's not all big cities and states that have banned this way of treating the elephants. And that's because a lot of people don't know the story behind the elephant on the stage. They don't know that it's been through that ritual. Luckily, today, 6 more people know. I've done part of my duty to Pun by telling you this story. And by the end or to wrap my speech up, I want to tell you where she is today, and her wish for you to do when you leave this room today and carry on your life. The last 2 pictures you may look at now, that's actually Pun and then one of her friends, and myself and my friend, on the sanctuary that she lives on today. Pun lives there because once she turned 60 years old, she had been used all the way through. She was starved, she was broken, and she was no longer of use in the industries. So she was rescued. She was bought for, I think it's $50,000 by people who did want to give her a good life, and she now lives in a sanctuary. Her hope and my hope is that now you have a better understanding of what elephants like her and other elephants have to go through, and that maybe when you go home you can tell your kids and grandkids and future grandkids the story, so they can understand and know why not to go to circuses if they have these elephants in there. And then maybe one day her story will have been worth telling. The end.
Very good.